Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I always have a little technical difficulty getting started, so I'm so sorry for that. I don't know. I might not have to be, I don't know if this is too much to do these lives maybe, but I enjoy them and I think you do too. So we're going to keep working until we get this straightened up. So today we're going to use what we practiced earlier on Monday, making swishes and swipes and dots. And we're going to do this pretty little pine bough ornament. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Now, a couple of things I wanted to mention. In the Facebook group, I gave you all a link today to these templates. This is a 3-inch and a 4-inch template for a snowflake, so a 6-segment grid that you can download and then cut out and use as a grid, marking grid for your ornaments. If you didn't pick that up, in the description, the show more button down below the video, there's a description box, and when you show more, it'll open up the full description. There's tons of information there, always about the the surface, the paint, all that kind of thing. But there's also a little link to this template. If you didn't see it in the Facebook group, you can go out and pick up that template so you can use it at some point to for marking snowflakes. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll get down to the table and we will get going. Oh, let me say hi to everybody. Let me see who's on, and I'll say hi first to see who's on. It's Tupper, Ola, Gwen, so glad you're here. Max Black, Jeannie, Mary V, Pam J. Pam's not at home yet, so she will be watching until then. Hi, everybody. Gail, Julie, Gabrielle, Linda, Lily, Lorraine, Lori. Hi, Lori. Laura, Janice, Gloria. We have just a lot of people. Joanne, Beth, Amy. So I am so glad. Jill. Hi, Jill. Becky, Beth, I'm so glad you guys are all on. So I think you might be excited about getting this program going. What I'd like you to do in the description, I see some people are saying where they're from. Go ahead and put that in so we know where everybody's coming from. And then also tell me what you're going to be painting on, because I'm going to be painting on one of these black flat ornaments, but you might be painting on a round ornament or a small canvas or something like that. So or something completely different, because you guys are so creative. So let me know what you're painting on, and it'll be fun to know what everybody's been working on or what you plan to paint on. So let's go ahead and go down to the table so we can get started on the project. Okay, I think that looks good. Let me see if I can zoom it in. And that's as far as I can zoom in. So I think that's going to be okay for us. All right, so here's the project that we're going to be working on. Maybe a little hard to see in this one, but it's really straightforward. We're dotting up the line for the 6 segments of the snowflake, and then we're doing lots of little swishes for the pine branches, and then we'll add some other little elements. So the paints I'm going to be using, we need a red and 2 greens. So this time I'm going to be using true red. I'm going to try the gloss enamels, because I think I used regular red when I did the sample one, but I'm going to use gloss enamels, and I'm going to use Festive green. And I think I put the same colors in the description, the tools and materials. I'm just going to go out to the gloss enamels on these. And then I'm going to do the Hauser dark green for my darker green. You could mix with this green a little bit of black to come up with a darker green. So don't fret if you don't have the exact colors. You can mix them as we go along. But these are simple. So this is a simple paint palette that we're going to be using for this project. And then if you picked up the templates, these are the 2 templates. So there's a 3-inch and a 4-inch template. And these are really simple. So when you have your paper, of course, just cut out generally. I cut it out and then fold it on one of these lines and then cut around. So I'm cutting like a semicircle. And then there's little notches here. Just cut in the notches, cut the center. And what you end up with is a little template like this that will help you mark your ornaments. And you could use this on a round ornament too. It's just that the paper's not, not completely flexible. So you just have to work around that a little bit. So this is 3-inch. This is a 3-inch ornament. So it's really simple for me to go ahead and mark this. I'm going to go ahead and use a chalk pencil on this. There have been a lot of questions in the chat, in the comment section of the group, the Facebook group, about how to mark your ornaments. And that for me has always been a little bit dicey because I usually pick my ornaments up at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or someplace like that, and I buy them in a, probably like most of you, they come in a package of 6 or 12 or 9 or however many. And if they're the colored ornaments and they're beautiful, right? They are so pretty, but those finishes are not very stable, I have found. I don't know what your experience has been, but mine has been that the finish is not very stable. So marking them is a little bit tough. So sometimes on the glass ones, I use just a dot. Like if I were using this marking, I would just put one little dot there, or knowing that I was going to cover it up, because you can't really take it off on those types of ornaments, because the finish, I have found that the finish comes right up. If somebody's got a way that they're working with it, it would be good to know. But I tend to take it, mars the finish. They're not very, they're inexpensive. If you're using a completely clear ornament, then no problem. You can easily take it off. It's just when it has a finish on it. Now these are heavy duty kind of plastic, right? They're a kind of hard plastic, and these have a matte finish. These are not shiny, so they have a matte finish. So they'll take the chalk pencil just fine. And so I'm going to go ahead and use that. So I've got this marked, and you can see the little marks that it makes. And then I can just either use a ruler, or even you could fold this and just draw out the line so that we can easily just drop your line. So you have a pretty good guide for the pine bough. And this is the 6th segment, as I mentioned. So 6 segments for the snowflake. And you can orient this any way you want. I have mine going straight up and down, but you could flip the orientation just a little bit so that, it was turn it on at the axis just a little bit, and that would be really nice too. So I have got my ornament marked, and I'm going to stop and wait for you all. I'm going to go see the chat and see what people are working on. Tell me if you were able to pick up the template. If not, you can pick that up at another time in the group or in the description. So we got people painting on a flat ornament. We've got 4-inch canvases. That's perfect. Small canvas, cardstock. Yep, cardstock is good. That actually would make this would make a really pretty card. Actually, insert for a card, or even the full card. Canvas board, flat glass ornament. Hi, Erin. Ornament. Erin's working on an ornament. And Gabriel's using the plastic sleeve over the snowflake grid she downloaded. That's great. That's good practice. That's a great idea, by the way, Gabriel. Small canvas. So lots of different surfaces that people are painting on. So let's take a look at our piece. And we're going to start with the center dot, and then we're going to move up, and we're going to put our the sort of center of our pine bough, which is just a series of small dots all the way up the line. And we're going to do that, and then we're going to go back in, and we're going to put our pine needles on there, and then we're going to go out to these other elements, and then we'll go back in with the red. See, isn't that pretty with just the sweet little accent of red? We're going to go in and just drop a few little clusters of red, like little berries, on a pine bough. So I think that's just So cute. These came with a little cap, so I've obviously just taken mine off while I'm painting because it's a little easier without the string hanging on there. So let me know if everybody's marked their surface and if they're ready to go. I'm going to I might try to move this down just a little bit more. See if I can get better. There, everybody seeing okay? Good, people are ready. All right, so I'm going to start with the green. This is the Festive green. So I'm just going to start with this. And I'm going to be using my nail daughters. Well, I'm going to start with the center. So let me start with the center. And for the center, I, of course, am using my regular tools, these crochet hooks. So I'm actually going to use the G6 4mm. So you need something comparable to that. Get some of this out of my way here. And we're just going to go right in the center as best we can get it in the center. And just drop our paint on. You're going to get plenty of practice with dots and swishes. Now I'm going to move down to a fairly small tool to make the little the dots up the line here. So I'm actually using a pretty small one. This is one of my smallest ones that I have in my set. And however it's comfortable for you to make your dots up the line is what you should do. And we're going to redip this each time and clean our tool off pretty frequently each time we come in to make a dot because we want to have consistent sizes. So let me just get started. This is a really easy project, but it's so satisfying when it's finished. And don't worry if you get wobbly or wonky, because honestly, this is a pine bough. You could curve it if you wanted to, do that deliberately even, and that would be pretty. But I'm just trying to get even spacing up the center of this branch. Everybody seeing okay? And I might have gone just a teeny little bit far. So I'm going to go, actually I want to stop. If you look at this, I am leaving a little bit of a border around so I can put some of these pieces. But you'll notice that it doesn't really matter if you go a little far because you just don't have to put your swishes all the way up. So that's one down. Let's keep going. And I'll go look at the chat in just a moment and see how people are doing. Make sure that you're seeing okay. I was glad to be able to put a few of these ornaments in the shop, but I didn't have a whole lot. I'll try to get some more for next year or even as the year goes by, because I really like these. These are really, really nice. Now, the thing about most ornaments, and I found it with these too, sometimes the surface is not perfect, right? There might be not a scratch, but kind of like, I don't know, this is maybe like a sprayed on finish. And I'm just going to do one more and then I'll go look at the chat and see how everybody's doing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of you interpreted the design. Either you're practicing and you're following along or you add your own little elements to it. You know, that snowflake or the winter mug that we did, everybody had such pretty, you know, adaptations and inspirations. They were so beautiful. Okay, and I'm going to stop. See, I'm stopping just a slightly inside of the circle. So I'm going to go to the chat and see how everybody's doing. So Yvonne's saying it's a little bit blurry. I can pull it up a little bit. I'll pull it up just a little bit and see if that isn't a little bit better. Okay, anything else? Hi, Christine. Yeah, the replay will be available, and it usually takes about an hour for the replay to finish processing. All right, I'm not seeing anybody say too much, so I think we're just painting along, so we can just keep moving. Just keep your dots as consistent as you can. And if you were working on a larger surface, like your canvases that you're using are likely slightly larger. I think somebody said they had a 4-inch. You might have a 5-inch or something a little bit larger. Just go to larger tools or fill in the space another way to get the size of canvas filled up with dotting. Okay. I've got 4 of 6 done. Move that one out of the way. I hope you all that you got the template. I hope you like it. It certainly makes life a little bit easier to have some kind of grid. Okay, and I'm moving on to my last one. And then when I'm done with my last one, I'm going to stop and check in with everybody before we start moving to swishes. Swooshes. This would be fun in some different colors too. I was thinking that it might be nice to add a little bit of white for snow. Okay. I think I'm done. Let me see how everybody else is doing. Let me know how you guys are doing, if you're caught up with me or if you want to slow down a little bit. Let me put this in the frame too, just for reference, if I can manage it. Sometimes it's hard for me to get everything on the table. Okay, Gabrielle, you're finished. Good. Okay, seems like maybe it's okay to move on. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to add these little pine needles. Very, very simple. It's just a little swoosh there, a little swipe. The thing, though, about this is if you look at it, you'll notice that I varied the size. Sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're a little longer, sometimes they're a little curved, sometimes they overlap or they go in a different direction. And that adds a little bit of interest to the piece. So it's not really precision dotting. We're trying to simulate pine needles. So they can go in different directions, and don't worry if they're overlapping each other or they don't necessarily all look the same. We want that variety. We want a little bit of difference there. So you can see that, you know, my edges are not real precise there, and I didn't want them to be. I want them to have a little bit of movement there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start swiping our hearts out here. Okay. So I'm going to stick with the small, really small tool here because I've got a small surface that I'm working on. So I'm going to pick up some paint. And you got to kind of watch your hands here. And so it might be easier for you to start like down here as opposed to trying to start up here where your hand might slide in this paint. And so I'm going to go ahead and start here. So I'm actually just going to start making some swishes. And as I said, I'm going to vary them up a little bit. Some are bigger, some curve a little bit. I think I want to go back in and put some. Those are a little bit, some of these are a little short. So I want to put some longer ones in. There. So that's our first one. And then we can just keep following along. How are you doing with your swooshes? I'm here at Max. You're saying you're caught up. Okay, we're just going to keep going. So we're going to keep going around. And see how I'm just kind of varying it? I'm not keeping them all the same. I don't always pick up enough paint here. Clean your tool off every now and again. See how mine are getting a little bit thick there? That's because there's buildup of paint on my tool, so I'll clean it after this row. And if you keep it pretty well cleaned, your paint won't build up as much or as fast. And when it builds up, it tends to distort the actual painting. Isn't that pretty how that's coming along? And there's so many possibilities here. Let's keep going. Is everybody ready for the holidays, for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas? I am. I'm not, but I never am really. I am kind of a last minute I do a lot of things at the last minute, although my shopping usually gets done early for presents and stuff, like decorating and stuff like that sometimes gets a little delayed. This is a relatively quick project, so you could do a little set of these relatively quickly. Just keep varying the sort of the direction of and the length of your needles. And don't worry if they cross over, as I mentioned, they can cross each other. Whoops. Hi, Diane. I don't have any more. I wasn't sure how people were going to, respond to them, so I only got about 70 of them. And so I don't have any more. There. How's yours coming along, everybody? This is looking pretty. I like this. I like this design a lot. Okay, I'm on my last one. Okay, so I have my 6 branches done. Let me know where you're at. I'm going to stand back from mine just a little bit and look and see if I need to add anything more. I do want enough space here to put this other design element in, but I want to make sure that I feel like my branches have enough, enough needles on them. And I actually think that looks pretty good. I might put a few sort of at the top to maybe finish those up a little bit. And maybe dot up a little more. So I'm just looking at the design and seeing, do I need to do anything more to kind of finish it up? And I'm just pulling the kind of walking just a few dots down. And adding where I think I need to. That looks pretty good. Okay, everybody about finished with their branches? 4 done. Okay, a couple people with 4 done. So we're going to let you catch up there and make sure that you have your branches done. Isn't that pretty? Now, if you were to stop here and just say, okay, now I want to change it up a little bit, this would be a fun place to stop once you get your branches on and figure out if there are any other designs. You could add, just imagine, like I stayed in just with my 3 colors, which I really thought was pretty and effective, but it would be really fun to just make a lot, add a lot of color too. You could make these bulbs, these little like ornaments, different colors, and that would be really pretty. I wanted to keep it simple for the design, but there's lots of possibilities here for what you could add to it. Donna, you've got 3 done. So we're at the like 3 to 4 stage. Is anybody finished? Oh, Janice, you're done and it looks cool on the clear ornament. I can't wait to see that. Oh my goodness, I would love to see what that looks like. All right, I'm going to start getting out my red paint, and I'm using the Gloss Enamel True Red. In the description, I think I told you guys at the beginning, I'm going to try out what I think how the gloss enamels. I'm trying gloss enamel, so I use True Red in the regular Americana series on this ornament, and I'm going to try gloss enamel just to see how it looks. So I'm going to put out some gloss enamel red, and then I'm also going to put out some more green because we're going to need a green, and I don't need a whole lot of red. I only just need a little teeny bit, really. So I'm only going to put out about like that much for the moment, and I'm going to give myself a little bit more green. Okay, so the next step is to add these elements here, and there are some components. There's one. I'm going to actually start with this larger dot. I'm going to place it sort of. You can see that it's maybe about, if you're on a 3-inch ornament, it's maybe about like a 1/2 inch or maybe 3/4 of an inch up. But really, I'm just going to look at this and I'm going to kind of put it in this V here where I think it's going to fit and still give me a nice space here to do this ornament. So I'm going to move up to the largest nail daughter in my set. And again, I'm going to go so that my hand is away from the paint on the surface here. And I'm going to go right about here, and I'm going to drop in that green. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm not going to put any more markings on here. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. And I'll come close enough. Okay, and I have that one done. And then I'm going to move up in size, and I think I use the L11 8mm for this larger, but before I move on to that, I'm sorry, there's a couple more elements we want to do here. So here's this piece, and there are a couple things. So we've put this dot down now. There's a little teeny dot below it. If you can fit it in, great. If not, don't worry about it. There's two little swooshes to make a sort of like another little petal element. There's a red dot, and then there's the large dot, and then we'll walk the dots around. So what I'm going to do next is put this teeny one here, do my swooshes, put my red dot down, and then I'll move into the larger element. So I'm going to use the same tool that I've been using for my branches. And I'm just going to put a dot here. And then I'm going to swipe one and turn it just a little bit, and two. Can everybody see that okay? So there's one dot here, and then there's a swoosh, and then there's another one. One dot down, and then swoosh, and swoosh. Oop! I went a little farther. That's okay. That happens. Just bring the other one in to make it match. Dot. Here's the last one. Swoosh and swoosh. So that's how we're looking so far. Let me know how y'all are doing with that, getting that little bottom part of that ornament finished, the bottom part of this design element here, this piece that we're working on. Janice, what are you going to use the white glitter on? That sounds interesting. Okay. Now I am going to use a slightly larger tool to put my red dot down. So in my set, this green one has the largest ball on the bottom, and then this blue one has, your sets are maybe different or whatever tool you're using. But I'm going to go just a little bit larger, and I'm going to put my red dot just like that. Isn't that pretty how the red just pops with that green? I love that. Okay. And I've got my 4 red dots down. Mary, you're liking the way it's turning out. That's good. Oh, Janice, you're going to glitter the inside of the clear ornament. Oh, my goodness. That's going to be so pretty. It's going to be like snow, right? Oh, I can't wait to see what that looks like. Okay. Now I'm going to move to the L11. This is 8mm, and I'm going to put my dot right above here on each of these. Just kind of orient yourself and put that dot down. Now, you can do it how it's good for you. I always use this. I don't like to change out my tool every time. So I tend to put, use the same tool around and then come back and do the another size tool. But you do it how it works for you, because there is some danger in that, you've got more paint that you could possibly bump up against. I hope you found the practice, those of you that were able to attend or watch the practice session, I hope you found that helpful. Let me know what you thought about that. I really enjoyed doing it, and I hope it got you prepared to be more, if you hadn't been doing swishes and swipes, to do more, be more confident with using them. And then this is a great project to practice that and get a really nice effect. So I thought that was so much fun that we were able to paint together and practice together. Laura wants to know, can cheap acrylic paint be used? Yes. You can use whatever paint you want. The thing about paint is it's basically the same in terms of acrylic binder, but it's how pigmented the paint is. Sometimes there's some, in the less expensive paints, there's some inconsistency in, the thickness of the paint. So you may have better success, but I would work with what I have, honestly. And there's no reason not to try the paint that you have. The thing is, these are ornament. Well, in this case, this is an ornament, or if you're using a canvas, it's not like it's going to get wear and tear. It's decorative. So if you handle it like a decorative piece, then the likelihood of you scraping paint off or damaging it in some way is not very high. If you pack it away like at the end of the season or whatever, it should hold up pretty well. So I wouldn't fret over it. I would actually try it and see how it works for you, and use what you have. All right, so we're going to start walking the dots. And we got some practice with that the other night. So in terms of this kind of a piece here, I'm going to kind of orient myself a little bit. So see how I'm trying to stay on this line here. So what I tend to do is kind of go up and draw myself an imaginary line. And that's my center. And go around as far as you can go. Reload. And then I hit that center again to release some paint so I can try to get consistent size dots on either side of this center one here. There we go. That's our walking the dots. Draw your imaginary line. Wipe your tool off so that you don't get buildup on the tool. How's everybody doing in terms of keeping up? I don't want to go too fast. Hi, Pam V. How was the concert? Well, it had to be wonderful. It was your grandkids, for heaven's sake. And Pam, you're the one that asked for the class, so I hope you get to go watch the replay. I think you're the one that wanted to do the pine bough, huh? Isn't that looking pretty? Okay, we'll keep going. Lorraine, I like the gloss enamels too. You know, I used I used the regular Americana paint, and I like it, but it's definitely a matte finish, right? And this is definitely glossy. It's pretty. Has a nice shine to it. Okay, let's keep going. Imaginary line to center it. Okay. So I'm going to pause there and just let you look at that and get caught up. Let me know where you're at. And I'm going to find, if I can, on my table, which is always a mess, let's try to find some white paint. I'm not seeing any white. I have some white pearl. I want to try some snow on these, on this one, and see how it looks. I got to find some white paint. I might not be able to find it. All right, I don't see any handy on my table here. I can't believe I don't have white paint. I have a lot of paint. Somebody posted, I don't know if it was in this group or another group, somebody posted that they used for paint storage one of those nail polish racks, and I checked them out on Amazon, and I am going to pick up some of those because some of them hold 100 or 200 bottles, and they, in the question and answer, say that they hold the 2-ounce paint bottles beautifully. Is anyone using any of those nail polish racks that you hang on the wall? I'm going to try those because I really like that. Oh, Lorraine, was it you that asked for this particular project? Okay, a couple people are getting done. So, oh, Lorraine, it holds 60 paint bottles. Okay, good. So I'm thinking that I'm going to try one of those because I think that would be, and it would be a kind of a nice display also. All right, so this is how mine is looking. Because I'm going to top dot because we're doing the class, I'm going to hit mine with the hairdryer real quick just to get a little skin on there. It's not really going to cure it, but so hold your ears for just a moment while I blow dry on this. I don't normally do that with the paint because it's almost artificial in a way. It might give a little skin, but it's not really, unless it's a very thin one, it's not really drying the paint well. So you still need to let it, dry. But I want to be able to top dot and add the other elements to this so you can see what that looks like. So I've got all of my pieces, my primary pieces on here. So I am going to take I'm I'm using the Hauser dark green. That you couldn't really see that. It's kind of blurry there. But this is the Hauser dark green. And I don't need very much of it. And I'm going to add the top dots just so you can see what that looks like. And you don't have to add anything to it. You could leave it just like this. You could add more red if you wanted. We're going to go back in and add a little bit more red. But I thought the contrast of a couple different colors of green might be kind of nice. So I'm going to take my, a size tool that's smaller than my base element and just drop a little bit of green on there. And I really do think that that enhances the look. You could also add some of that darker green in with your needles to give it a little bit more dimension. That would be pretty too. Okay, and then for the larger one, I'm going to just use my 4mm and drop a little top dot there. I would, of course, if we were not doing a live here, I would actually not do it like this. You know that. I would just let it dry first before I added any kind of top dots. Because I'm actually moving the paint now. I can tell that I'm moving the paint. But this gives you a sense of what it would look like and how you would do that dotting. And I'm wiping my tool off in between. I'm reloading and wiping it off. Okay, great. See how that little bit of dark gives it a little bit of dimension? And I think that DecoArt, because I use primarily DecoArt, I think they have a gloss enamel in this, but I didn't happen to have one right now. So there's our top dotting. Now we can have a little bit of fun. So I added on this piece just little clusters of 3 little dots of red, and I just did it randomly. Some branches have 2 clusters, some have 3. So just randomly, different places on the pine bough. And I used the same small tool that I've been using, because I want these to be fairly small. And I'll load my paint. I'll dip my tool, and then I'm just going to put random little, can you see that? Just random little clusters. There's no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting them. I just kind of look at it every now and again and see if I need to balance it by placing something, in a different location. Anyone have any questions? Yeah, Pam, it is 3 inches. Lorraine was right there. This is 3 inches. Okay. Now, that's it. That's actually the project. I'm going to go in, though, with some of this white pearl. This is a metallic. I just want to see what little snow would look like. So let's try a little experiment. On this one, I'm going to use the very smallest one that I have. And I think I'm just going to add a little highlight. See, just a little flick. I don't know if you can see it well. Just a little flick on some of these needles. I like it. Can you see it? Gives it a little bit of a look of snow. I'm not staying directly on the needle necessarily on the first green needle that we put down. I'm maybe kind of offsetting it just a little bit. Just on the tip. Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty. What do you guys think? Yeah, I like the snow a lot, you guys. I think that's really pretty. I'm just going to keep going with that for a little bit. It just, the more layers you add, just enhances the overall look. So pretty. I think this might be our last project, our last live project for the year, because people are getting busy and busier. And so I think I'll just post. I have a couple more Christmas type projects that I want to post. But I think this might be our last live. I hope you've enjoyed them. I really did. I was nervous to start, you guys, just because I'd never done them before. And I still have kinks to work out every single time I do one of these, for heaven's sake. I don't know why. But I really enjoy painting with you all so much. It's so much fun. Oops. I went a little far on that one. So I got a little Q-tip. I might disturb this paint a little bit, but I think I can get there. There, I can take it off a little bit. Okay, now we can look at where else we might want to add some snow, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's too much. That might be that little bit of snow might be a little much. We'll see. Yeah, I think that might be maybe a little bit busy. I'm not sure yet, but I think maybe. But once you get started, once you commit, unless you wanted to try to take it off, just finish it and see how it looks. Okay. I see that I missed a little bit of top dotting. So I'm going to go back in, and it's right here. I didn't top dot those, and I did on my original, so and I think it might look nice to top dot that one. Okay. That's the ornament that we did tonight. And here's the original. And here's the one that we did tonight. Do you like it with the snow? I like both of them. Okay, tell me how yours have turned out. Yeah, Gabriel, I think the dark green is really nice. I like that too. I like having that little teeny bit of contrast. Joyce, you don't think it's too much? Oh, good. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed. Yeah, the gloss paint's really good. I like changing that to use the gloss paint. I have to tell you, I'm fond of this one just because it's the first one I did. But I actually am liking the way that turned out. If I were to do this again, which I probably will, I like the snow on the branches. I think that's pretty, but I do think that for me, I might leave that little dotting snow off. I don't know. I have to maybe live with it a little bit and see what I think. So I'm going to come up and say goodbye. How long did we go? Just over an hour, or just about an hour since I was technically challenged. But there's our pieces right there. I hope you love the way yours turned out. I can't wait to see them in the group. Everybody that did one or that you plan to do one, I really enjoy seeing them because you always add something so special and unique to them. And don't forget to pick up your template if you came in a little bit late. In the group, there's in the file section, there's a template for the snowflake grid that you can do on, print out on paper and then cut out and use as, a little easy marking tool. So let me come up and say goodbye. If I can get my camera up there. Okay, my system's a little jiggy here. Let's see if that's better. Okay, everybody. Hey, my camera's all wacky. I had so much fun painting with you tonight, and I hope you enjoy this project. Really looking forward to seeing. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I really love it if you subscribe because it really is encouraging to see you there. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, something like that. So it's so I get a little bit of encouragement. So I want to thank you so much for joining. Take care, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.